Hi, this is Quiver with Free the Flow, and this simple practice is to support the flow in our hands and our wrists. And this is being filmed along the full moon in Gemini. And as we're in this current season, or you could be watching this at any season, but what inspired me to bring in the hands and wrists with this full moon in Gemini is to bring in this balance of when we can be in so many ideas and thoughts and inspiration, how do we bring it into our creation of our hands? How can we speak and communicate through our touch? Especially this current age where so much of our hands, at least for me, I've been noticing, like, what are my hands doing throughout the day? And how much is it texting? And how do I want these like incredibly sophisticated creative tools of our hands to be moving and creating throughout the day? So that's just my own question. And I have really been playing a lot of piano because the winter I start to play more and more being inside. And I played so much that my thumb joint was really, really tender and painful. So I did this to my own body, my own wrist, so that I could have the freedom of my thumb again. And so that's why I'm sharing this simple practice. If anyone has carpal tunnel or they're doing any things that stress out the joints of the hand or the wrist, this is a really effective and simple practice. So we'll start by just acknowledging the power that our hands have. And again, I bring in this lens from Soma neuromuscular integration, which is understanding the body through fascia. And I loved learning through embryology that while we're growing from our heart, our arms start to grow. And so our arms are literally extensions from our heart space. And our hands are like the unfurled reach from our heart. And the fingerprints that are like the most incredible patterns of uniqueness are the echoes of our heart's electromagnetic field. And so our hands are so powerful. And we can all wear our hearts on our sleeves. So before doing any sort of movement, just taking a pause to admire and acknowledge the uniqueness that it is your hands and your fingerprints and all they do throughout the day. And we can begin just by gently touching our own hands with this acknowledgement. And we'll start by simple wrist circles. So fingers point forward, and we're going to do 8 in one direction. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're going to imagine we're putting our fingers into a bucket of rice. And I actually used to do this when I did a lot of training for aerial arts. We had a bucket of rice and we'd stick our hand in and then reach our fingers apart to strengthen the back of the hand. So you can imagine that to start with both hands going into buckets of rice and extend fingers out with this imagined resistance. Okay, and we'll do that 8 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to imagine really putting it into the bucket of rice. It's a nice sensory imagination. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And just even that, like little pretend resistance of the rice. You can actually try that with rice if you have a lot of rice at home to try that. But even just imagining that resistance can really strengthen the back of the hand. And now we're going to come to hands and knees. And here, we want to stack our shoulders over our wrist. And then you're going to lift the wrists up. I'll show you from here. Like imagine this is the floor, and then you're going to lift the wrists up like so, and then slowly lower back down, both at the same time. And this is then strengthening through mobility, all the little muscles and connective tissue in our palm. And so we're going to lift and then slowly lower. We'll do this 8 times. That's 1, 2. So the 4 fingers, the knuckles here stay grounded. The thumb knuckle will come up as best you can. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, that can really start to strengthen the palm and also parts of the forearm as well. Now we're going to come to the tops of our hand, and still it's the same action of wanting to strengthen the back of the hand, but we're going to be putting on some load of our upper body on that. So at any point, anything that I'm offering, if this doesn't feel right for your body, back off and just come back to that first motion of resistance if this action is too much for your wrists. So we're going to come to the fingertips pointing toward each other and the palms up, shoulders over the wrists once again. And then we're going to bend our elbows wide. You might tap your forehead down to the earth and then press the backs of the hands into the earth as you straighten the arms, and then come all the way up onto the fists and squeeze your hands really tight at the top. And when you're at the top, this part of the hand is still on the earth. And we'll do that 7 more times. So then we'll open the palms, bend the elbows wide, forehead might tap the earth, and then press, press, press with the backs of the hands, straighten the arms all the way to come up onto fists and squeeze. That's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm really reaching through my thumb too to get that motion. 7 and 8. Great. So now come back to a seat. We'll just give a little shaky, shaky, shake from that. This next piece comes from what I've learned about the wrist from the Soma practice that I do. So we're going to bring one hand to we're aiming to pull down the fascia of the wrist. So we're going to have a palm and our fingers that reach and pull the fascia down, and then our hand that's being touched, we're going to curl fingers in towards the palm. And then we'll do that again. So grab the surface of the back of the hand and the wrist, and we're pulling it down towards the elbow draw fingers in to really curl, and we're stretching the back of the hand. We'll do that again. Pull down towards the elbow and squeeze. I believe that's 3. We'll do this 8 times as well. 4, 5. And what I'm doing too is I'm pressing, because my thumb was really hurting after playing so much piano, and I'm squeezing and pressing down with my pointer finger here to create a traction, and that's a nice release for my thumb as well. So you're welcome to do that. I believe this is 6, 7, and 8. And we'll do the other side. So again, reach for the fascia, pull it down towards the elbow, curl fingers in towards center. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm squeezing my area of my thumb too. 6, 7, and 8. And we'll just shake, shake, shake. Bring some blood flow into the fingers. And here we're gonna just now articulate the fingers a little bit. So pointer with the thumb and the squeeze, middle, ring, pinky, ring, middle, pointer, and continue really squeezing as you're doing this. This is also activating all the little connections in our forearm. You might be feeling that. Also so good for balancing the right and left hemisphere of the brain. And we'll do this just a few more times. You can speed it up as fast as you would like to, and then release. And now we're going to bring our hands together and interlace, reach them forward, palms forward, get a nice stretch through your fingers, and then bring your hands clasped as you normally would, and then just really squeeze the fingers between your fingers, and then release. And now this, we're going to just bring our fingers toward each other and like a little wave, and then away. Fingers toward and away. Like they're doing a sweet little dance together. And then we'll reverse that. We'll bring our fingers in towards the center and then away, like curling up, in towards center and then away, up. A few times like this. And release. So we're going to bring our hands together, once again, looking at your palms and bringing in the soft, open posture of receiving all the genius and all the wisdom that comes from our touch and our ability through our hands to do so much. And I just want to give a thanks and gratitude and acknowledgement for you to take this time today for your hands and your wrists, and may they be balanced and vital to bring in that connection of touch and connection of creative making and craft and whatever your hands are wanting to be creating in this current season. And there will be another video to support free the flow of creativity, specifically for writing. So again, anything that we do with our hands, it can be a lot of intensity on our joints. And so this is a very simple practice to do for whatever you do throughout the day with your hands. And there will be a video that I'll put that link in for Free the Flow of Creativity for writing for this current season. And if you feel like it, please leave any comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you how this is going in your body, and feel free to share this with anyone that you know that could support or could benefit from this support for the hands and wrists. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day.